You trust her. You sleep peacefully next to her. You share plans, laughs, dreams. But what if I told you she might have already betrayed you emotionally, and you had no idea? And no, I'm not talking about kisses, touches, or sex. I'm talking about something far more dangerous, micro-cheating. Those subtle gestures, those harmless texts, that silence that isn't peace, it's control. Today, many men are being emotionally drained in their relationships and don't even realize it. Why? Because society taught men to stay quiet, swallow the signs, ignore their instincts in the name of maturity. But that's not maturity. That's self-abandonment. And if you don't wake up now, you might wake up too late. This video isn't here to make you paranoid. It's here to help you see clearly. You're about to learn how to spot the subtle behaviors that slowly kill your confidence, weaken your masculinity, and distance you from what you truly deserve. A relationship built on truth, presence, and reciprocity. If something feels off, if the connection feels cold, if your gut says something isn't right, trust your perception. Because today, you're going to learn how to detect micro-cheating. And most importantly, how to stand your ground with wisdom, emotional self-control, and stoic clarity. No yelling, no begging, just truth, posture, and power. And look, the most dangerous signs don't always show up early. Some only reveal themselves once damage has already settled in, when distance becomes routine, and your voice is drowned by sweet excuses. So stick with me until the end, because only then you'll see the full picture, and learn how to never be blindsided again. If you're ready to open your eyes and take back control, take a deep breath, because the first sign is more common and more dangerous than you think. Let's get straight to it. Get ready to recognize the invisible. First revelation. When the conversation seems harmless, but carries another intention. Not every slip-up smells like perfume or leaves lipstick on a collar. Sometimes it looks like giggles over WhatsApp, or that ex who just wanted to check in. It's subtle, almost unnoticeable. But to a man with focus, vision, and self-control, it's crystal clear. Many believe they're safe, while their partner dances on the edge of respect, with the silent approval of his own blindness. Disguised communication is the first spark of chaos. That friendship that suddenly resurfaces, the overly affectionate emoji, or a message deleted before you see it. They may seem small, but they carry the poison of insecurity. When a man lacks clarity on what's acceptable, he lets go of his boundaries, and once those fade, respect follows. Too many modern men confuse maturity with passivity. They think not making a big deal is strength, but often it's just a lack of self-respect. A real stoic man doesn't overreact, but he's not blind either. He notices, he observes, he acts with reason, not ego. And how does he handle it? By speaking clearly. That bothers me. And it doesn't align with the kind of relationship I expect. Here, emotional intelligence becomes a silent weapon. This isn't about being possessive. It's about having confidence in what you want to build. A man needs to know the value of his presence and demand consistency. It's not about surveillance. It's about awareness. A man who truly knows himself can sense the game, even when it's whispered. That level of perception doesn't come from jealousy. It comes from refined masculine energy. Feminine psychology is rich in nuance. But when used the wrong way, it turns into manipulation wrapped in affection. And if you can't spot it early, brace yourself, because the next signs are even more dangerous. What looks like affection may hide something deeper. Let's move to the second revelation. When she craves attention, but not yours. There's a kind of flirting that isn't about pleasure. It's about validation. She posts a seductive selfie in her story, and you know it wasn't for you. It was for the world. For the kind of attention that feeds the ego and starves the relationship. Many men don't notice they're being ignored at home, while their woman seduces the outside world in silence. It's a twisted logic. She feels desired by others, which compensates for what she doesn't build with you. Not because you failed, but because she needs admiration from strangers to feel alive. This isn't about looks. It's about unresolved vulnerability. And when a man doesn't hold boundaries and a firm presence, her hunger for external approval only grows. At this point, masculinity is mistaken for apathy. He thinks letting it go is a sign of security. But real strength lies in reading patterns and repositioning his energy. A woman who truly wants you doesn't need to perform for the public. She builds behind the scenes with you. That's respect. That's partnership. That's noise-free communication. If he stays asleep to this, he gets pushed to the sidelines. She gets drunk on likes, private messages, compliments wrapped in emojis, and the man who once led the story becomes a background character. Emotional self-control here isn't about suppressing anger. It's about making lucid decisions. Does this relationship help me grow or shrink? And that's where the Stoic man rises. Not to lecture, but to decide. Redemption doesn't come from begging for attention. It comes from realizing a woman who needs to shrink you to feel bigger isn't your partner. She's a disguised rival. And if you thought that was intense, wait until you see what comes next, because it hides behind care. Third revelation. When she protects you just to keep you weak. Many men don't see it, but some women sabotage from behind the mask of care. She says, "You don't need to push yourself," or "That's too hard anyway," or "You already do enough." It sounds like support, but underneath, there's a hidden intent. Keep you small, insecure, dependent. A man who doesn't shine doesn't threaten, and that serves a certain kind of ego disguised as sweetness. This is where feminine subtlety becomes brutal. She presents herself as understanding, but slowly chips away at your masculine energy. You start avoiding challenges, giving up goals, accepting emotional scraps. Why? Because someone who once said, "I love you," planted fear where they should have planted courage. Over time, that crushes your confidence, your focus, and most dangerously, your sense of purpose. In that moment, a man's emotional intelligence must stay sharp. Not every compliment is sincere. Not every hug is nourishing. Listen to the tone behind the words. Are you growing with her or shrinking? Simple test. Every time you try to evolve, read more, train harder, build something, does she discourage you? If so, you're being pruned, not loved. True Stoicism doesn't teach you to accept everything. It teaches you to discern what deserves to stay. The awakened man asks, does what I'm receiving strengthen me or keep me small? That's the key. A healthy relationship pushes you to your edge. It doesn't lull you into comfort. Real love challenges. It doesn't coddle. And a quick pause here. If this kind of content is opening your eyes to things you didn't notice before, hit the like button and subscribe right now, because this is just the beginning. Let's keep going. Now it gets more serious. Her silence can speak louder than any scream. Let's go to the fourth revelation. When she shuts down, to punish you with silence. There's a kind of coldness that doesn't yell, it freezes. She stops talking, stops looking, stops touching. Not because she's sad, but because she wants control. This is called stonewalling, emotional punishment disguised as quiet. And many men accept it silently, thinking it's just her mood or her hormones. But it's not. It's emotional blackmail. When communication disappears, the relationship becomes a minefield. He tiptoes around her mood, second-guesses himself, and starts blaming himself for things he didn't even do. And here begins a subtle kind of emotional jealousy. He doesn't fear losing her to someone else. He fears losing the little attention he still gets. It eats away at his emotional control, especially when he doesn't even see the game being played. But the Stoic man doesn't bargain with manipulative silence. He sees it. He names it. He sets a stance. He knows silence can be a tactic, but real love is built on words, listening, and exchange. Want a practical response? If she's cold without explanation, don't chase, say, "When you're ready to talk, I'll be here. But I won't carry this relationship alone." That stance demands presence. It demands self-respect, because the man who normalizes emotional neglect ends up starving in a relationship full of crumbs. This slowly corrodes his masculinity from the inside out. Emotional leadership is not about begging for love. It's about knowing where you're truly wanted. The Stoic always prefers a painful truth over a comfortable illusion. And if you thought that was heavy, the next behavior exposes the deepest layer of female psychology. A kind of micro-cheating that happens while you're asleep next to her. Coming up next, she doesn't have to leave the house to leave the relationship. Let's move to the fifth revelation. When she shares her heart with someone who isn't you. Men often think cheating is physical, but before touch comes emotional surrender. And when your woman starts opening up to another man about her thoughts, her feelings, her frustrations with you, she's betraying you silently. Not with her body, but with her soul. And through the lens of Stoicism, That's a poison that destroys trust at its root. She might say, he's just a friend, a co-worker, someone I vent to. But you feel it. You feel the shift in tone, the drop in intimacy. You feel like the best parts of her are being saved for someone else. This is when a man's emotional intelligence must be trained, not to obsess, but to perceive. There's a difference between friendship and emotional substitution. When someone else knows more about your relationship than you do, something is broken. This is where clear communication matters. You don't have to accuse, but you must set the line. If something's bothering you, talk to me, not to another man. That's not jealousy. That's a boundary. That's respect. That's protecting the sacred space between you. This kind of micro-cheating grows in the dark. It starts as a casual conversation. Then it becomes confession, comfort, admiration. And suddenly, she's not talking to you anymore. She's only talking about you. By the time most men notice, they're trying to win back a woman who's already emotionally committed to someone else. And what hurts isn't the physical loss, it's the invisible emotional abandonment. That's why self-mastery is essential. A man must learn to recognize when he's being replaced emotionally. And from there, act wisely. Either he confronts with calm leadership, or he withdraws with dignity. Because what comes next is the quietest and most devastating form of all. Sixth revelation. When she starts hiding, just a little too much. Micro-cheating doesn't start with scandal, it starts with secrecy. A browser tab quickly closed. A phone flipped screen down. A deleted by accident message. It's the culture of half-truths. She's not lying, but she's not telling the truth either. And the man, afraid of sounding paranoid, pretends not to see. But the awakening comes when silence screams louder than any answer. Too many men confuse emotional intelligence with passivity. They think accepting everything without question shows confidence, when in truth, they're ignoring their own protective instinct. A Stoic man doesn't become jealous, he becomes attentive. And that awareness is what separates the wise from the naive, the man from the boy. Want a practical example? If she hides a simple DM from you, or always has rehearsed excuses for suspicious interactions, wake up. It's not about control, it's about perception. Small behaviors create patterns, and a man with focus sees them long before they explode. He doesn't wait for cheating to be official. He acts while it's still reversible. Feminine subtlety can be sweet on the surface and acidic underneath. Sometimes she calls you my love, but shares nothing real anymore. And here's the danger. The man starts doubting his own instincts. He feels something's off, but gets gaslight by affection. And from that point on, he either speaks with self-respect or becomes a spectator in his own story. These small omissions erode the foundation of the relationship, real presence. And when he finally sees it, there's no more emotional territory left to reclaim. Only silence, doubts, and distance. And that's exactly when the last, and most painful, form of micro-cheating takes root. The one that happens, even after the breakup. Seventh revelation. When she already left, but still emotionally uses you. Some women don't break up. They linger emotionally. They keep texting, liking your photos, saying they miss you. Not to reconnect, but to maintain control. It's the softest, most subtle form of jealousy. She doesn't want you back, but she also doesn't want to see you free. This behavior feeds her ego. As long as you respond, she knows she still has power. And the man, heart still tender, memories still fresh, accepts the crumbs of attention as if they were love. But it's not love. It's ego. And unless he has emotional control and self-discipline, he'll stay stuck in a cycle where she pops in and out every time she senses he's moving on. The Stoic man knows. Masculinity isn't chasing someone who confuses you. It's cutting off what no longer respects you with clarity. Emotional ties after a breakup can become psychological traps. Want to break free? Simple. Block what delays you. Delete what binds you. Make room to rebuild your confidence on what's to come, not what's already gone. Awakened men don't live with ghosts. They live in the now, and the now demands focus, inner silence, and firm closure. Redemption begins when you stop romanticizing mixed signals and start honoring your own path. If she's already gone, let her go completely. Only then will there be space for something real, with truth, presence, and respect. Because in the end, There's no pain greater than being emotionally chained to someone who has already walked away. And if you think this is the end of the story, you're wrong. This might just be the beginning of a new way of seeing relationships. If you've made it this far, one thing should be clear. Micro-cheating isn't a minor issue, it's a signal. A symptom that something deep in your relationship is breaking, not with noise, not with drama, but with slow, quiet emotional damage. So the real question is, will you keep ignoring the signs? Or will you finally stand up as a man who respects himself? Because in the end, what you tolerate is exactly what you invite into your life. Now tell me, have you ever gone through something like this? Have you ever felt emotionally betrayed, even without proof? Drop it in the comments. Now I see. Just that. Simple, clear, powerful. Your words might open another man's eyes too. Thank you truly for sticking with me to the end. Your time, your attention, your presence, they matter. And it's an honor to share this with you. If this video spoke to you, hit the like button now. Send it to a brother who needs to hear this. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell, because we've still got a lot more to uncover, and you won't want to miss it.